Thank you for joining us for another Sunday School lesson from FatherHurley.com. Mother Hurley gave us these wonderful words, you do right. You do right. It doesn't matter what your neighbor does. It doesn't matter what your friends are doing. It doesn't matter what your family is doing. It doesn't matter what society does. It doesn't matter what the politicians do. You do right. Because if it's not right, you should not be doing it. Why? Because you are God's child, and God's children obey Him. God has good children, and they obey His words, His rules, and His precepts. And our lesson this week is coming from the book of Malachi. And little is known about Malachi from a personal standpoint, but we do know that Malachi was a prophet that preached 70 years after the completing of the Second Temple. And if we recall, last week we dealt with Zechariah. We said last week that Zechariah and Haggai had their prophetic ministry during the time when the Second Temple was being built. And through their ministry, the people were encouraged and revived, and they finished the temple. Now we're 70 years after that, and now we're dealing with Malachi, still preaching to hard-headed people. These are the children, the grandchildren of that generation, yet they're still just as hard-headed as the past generations. And the people, they are discouraged. They feel like they've done their part. Now they feel like God has not done their part. And we're going to find out what we mean by that, and we're going to find out what God's response is. So we're going to ask you to turn to Zechariah, the 2nd chapter, and the 17th verse, which comprises our first outline, which is people's complaints. So we're going to find out what the people had to complain about. Go to verse 17. It says, ye have wearied the Lord with your words. As we said last week, God is not a person. God does not get physically tired, for He has no body. But God is wearied in the sense that His justice, His mercy is running out, and the justice is about to come through. The people are complaining. They're speaking a lot of untruth, half-truth, doing what they want, saying what they want. And God is getting to the point, the Lord is saying, you know what? I don't have to take this from you. I've blessed you. I've lifted you up. I've surrounded you, put a hedge about you, according to Job 1. I've protected you. I've given you the desires of your hearts. And you still have complaints. I don't have to take this from you. It says, yet ye say, wherein have we wearied him? This is the people's response. Malachi is saying, you wearying God. So the people are saying, again, this is just symbolic language. When have we wearied him? When do we weary the Lord? When do we make him tired? The answer, when ye say, everyone that doeth evil is good in the sight of the Lord, and he judgeth, delighteth in them. Or, where is the God of judgment? Now, the reason the people are being so critical at this hour is because the prophets, Isaiah and some of the other prophets of old, they said that once the Second Temple was built and established and opened, that a new shepherd would come to pass. A new shepherd would come and rule over that temple. So the people, remember, 70 years after the Second Temple has been completed. So they feel like we built the temple, we've been coming to the temple, we've been doing the work, we've been going through the rituals. Now where is this supposed so-called shepherd? Why has not God done his part? So they feel like since God hasn't kept his word, they don't have to keep their word and obey God. This is the people's mindset at this time. This is how they feel. Sometimes we may feel the same way. We feel like we've done what God said do. We've obeyed his word. I'm living right. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Why am I still catching hell? Why haven't you blessed me? Where's my perfect peace? Where's my perfect joy? Where are my financial blessings? But God has an answer for them. We find that in the second outline. We're going to turn to Malachi, the 3rd chapter, the 1st through the 5th verses, and then chapter 4, verse 1. Now, second outline is Lord's coming. Malachi 3, verse 1, behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. Now we quickly go to Malachi, the 4th chapter and the 5th verse, but that's not in our lesson today. But I want you to turn there very quickly. It says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And if you don't have to turn there, but just note Matthew, the 17th chapter, the 10th through 13th verses, Jesus equates John to Elijah. So John is fulfillment of Malachi, of this prophecy. He came before Jesus and prepared the way for Jesus. So John is the manifestation of this prophecy. We continue on with that verse. And the Lord whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant whom ye delight in, because he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts. The Lord's going to come suddenly. Yes, the people are looking for the Lord, but he's going to come upon them suddenly. Now, if we go fast forward 400 years to the New Testament, to the four Gospels, then we will find what we're talking about here. Even in that day, the people were still claiming to be looking for the new shepherd, still claiming to looking for the messenger, yet they were not ready. They were not prepared to meet him and to accept him. He came upon them suddenly. It says, even the messenger of the covenant. So earlier in the verse, he said, behold, I send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. That was one messenger. And we found out from Malachi 4 and 5 and from Matthew 17, 10 through 13, that was John. Now the messenger of the covenant, that is Jesus the Christ. It says, whom ye delight in. You looking for him. So he's coming. He says, shall come suddenly. He shall come, saith the Lord of hosts. He shall come. Let them know, I know you're looking for the new messenger. I know you're looking for the shepherd that I promised you through the former prophets. And he is coming. He will come in due time. We're going to stop right here at this verse. We're going to ask you to stay tuned for our next segment, where we're going to continue with our second outline. May peace be with you until then.